Hello everyone, in today's tutorial I'm going to be making some covered snap clips. I've added a bow to these ones, but you can also use this tutorial just to make the plain snap clips. You don't have to add the bow part, so whatever your preference is. To make the covered snap clips with or without the bow, you will need a die or templates. I prefer to use a die and my die cutting machine just because the shape of the snap clip covers, they're quite intricate, especially these scalloped edge ones, so it is much easier to use a die cutting machine. Mine is the 𝘠𝘓𝘭𝘪. I don't think they even make the 𝘠𝘓𝘭𝘭 cutting machine anymore. I've had this about 15 years because I used to make cards and it still works well, so I've just stuck with it. But if you want to get yourself a die cutting machine, if you haven't got one already, the 𝘵𝘩𝘠 or the 𝘵𝘩𝘠 Plus. The 𝘵𝘩𝘠 Plus has got a bigger cutting area. They're the most common ones you will see within the bow making community. I will pop some links in the description below. I will also link everything that I use in this tutorial, the fabric, the wooden die that I'm using. I will link them all in the description below so you can check out these products. So this is the die that I'm going to be using, and as you can see it has got 4 different sizes to fit the larger snap clips from 5 centimeters up to 8 centimeters. I'm going to be using this glitter fabric. Again, I will link all of these in the description below, and with these I'm going to pair them with a mirrored leatherette in a gold and one in a silver. You will also need some felt fabric to back your glitter, so match your fabric as best as you can. So for the black I will use a black felt, and for the silver I'll use a white felt because that was the nearest colour I had to match. So to save time I've already cut these out. So I've cut out a black glitter snap clip cover with matching black felt, and then a silver one too with a matching white felt. So to run it through the machine you simply just layer up your plates and you sandwich your die in between, and then whatever fabric you're cutting out. You will learn how to do this when you get your machine. It's not worth me doing a tutorial in how to use a die cut machine. This tutorial is mainly just to show you how to make the snap clips and put them together. If you want more information you can pop some questions below. And maybe I'll do another tutorial on how to work a die cutting machine. But yeah, you just get the plates and the die and you just sandwich them all up. You get different thicknesses of plates. With the 𝘠𝘓𝘭𝘭 you get ABC plates. I'm not sure about the 𝘵𝘩𝘠, but yeah, that will be maybe another tutorial for another time. So I've gone for the second from largest cutout today. So this cuts out a shape of 7.5 centimeters, and this will cover a 7 centimeter clip. So this covers clips 5, 6, 7 and 8 centimeters, this die. I'll pop a conversion list on the screen if you prefer to work in inches. And the bow, which I'm going to be using today, is the Beauty bow. So I got this bow kit from Glitter Glitter on the Wall. It comes in 4 sizes, and I found that the 2.5 inch size Beauty bow is perfect for the snap clip. You can tell the size of the finished bow by the tails, so you can have a little play. If you want to add a smaller bow, you can. So this one here is a teeny tiny 2 inch tail, and this is the 2.5 inch tail, which is what I will use. But just to show you, so this is the width of the smaller bow, and this is the 2.5 inch one, and I think the 2.5 inch one just looks much better on there, so that is the one I'm going to use. So I will find the loops that go with the 2.5 inch tails, and I'm doing a double looped bow, so I'm taking out the smallest loops, which normally would go with the smallest tails, and the second from smallest loops. So I've got all my templates out ready now and my fabrics. You can decide how you want yours layered up, so you will have your tails, the larger loops, the smaller loops, in that order. So I'm going to have my middle loop as the iridescent fabric, and then the tails and the top loop in the glitter. And then the piece in the middle is also going to be the iridescent mirror fabric. So now we need to draw around our templates onto the back of our fabrics. As you can see, this black glitter has got a black backing, so I'm going to be using this white chalk pencil. These are really handy to have for the dark backed fabrics. Again, I will link one of these or some of these in the description below. And then for the other fabrics, they're obviously just white backed. I will just use an ordinary biro pen. So I've drawn around all of my templates on the back of what fabrics I need, and now we're ready to cut these out. I'm going to show you quickly how I cut these out. I use 𝘱𝘂𝘧𝘧𝘪𝘭𝘪 fabric scissors. These are amazing for cutting through all fabrics, especially chunky glitter, because they are very sharp. So to cut around these ones with the pen, so just to show you, I cut off the pen line. So I've started cutting this one already. And how I do it is I cut off the pen line by cutting just inside of it, and that way when you make your finished bow you don't see the pen line on the back. So I'll just show you a little sample. So just very carefully cut inside of the pen line. You shouldn't see inside of the loops anyway, but on the tails more than anything, sometimes on the underside of the bow you can see the pen lines, and it just gives a more nicer, cleaner finish if you do it this way. So I have everything cut out now, ready to assemble our snap clips. Obviously I cut out the snap clip covers using the die, and the bow I did by hand. So I've got my 7cm snap clips here, and the snap clip covers which are 7.5 centimeters. So as you can see, if I layer that over that clip, that covers that beautifully. So I'm just going to flip this upside down now so I can line this up evenly all the way around, and then once we've got this lined up we can start gluing the glitter piece on. Always glue the glitter part on first. So using my hot glue gun at the tip end, I'm just going to add a dot of glue just to hold that in place, and then we're going to work our way up. Open the clip. This is important because if you don't open the clip you will end up sticking it down and you won't be able to open it. So yeah, open the clip, and then we're going to start working our way up to the top now. So I've already stuck the bottom part on. You only want to apply your glue thinly, so just a small little bit of glue toward the outer part of the metal clip, so not right over toward the middle, more toward the outer part. And then you can just do a little bit at a time, working your way up to the top. So lining it up as you go along, pushing it into the glue, and then do the next bit up. When it comes to sticking on the top part, you can cover all of the top part. So again, just a little bit of glue on the metal, and then I'll do the top part now as well. You can cover the whole of this top part with the glue, but again not too thickly, you don't want it too bulky with that glue underneath, and then push that down into the glue. So as you can see, you've got some overspill, but we're going to cover that with felt, so don't worry about that. So the felt will add extra security and obviously cover all of those spills. So taking the felt piece now, we're going to pop it so that this piece which is open goes through the middle, and I like to stick mine again from the bottom toward the top. It makes it much easier, so making sure all of those scallops are in line, and then we're going to start sticking it at the top and work our way down, because obviously if you did it this way round and you started at the top, the middle piece is going to be in the way, so always start at this bottom part first. So popping my hot glue now in between each of these scallops, and again I'm not doing it too close into the edges of the fabric, I'm just doing it toward the middle and over the clip. A lot of people struggle with this part because you get glue seeping out, or yeah, it just doesn't stick very well. So this is how I prefer to do it. And now we can bring this down and work our way up toward the top. So as we did before, adding the glue mainly to the outer part of the metal and in each of the scallops, not too thickly, because if you do it too thick you're going to push the felt into the glue and it's all going to seep out. So yeah, just put the glue on there thinly, covering the metal as well as the little scallop. I'm just going to go for it and do the whole bit now. So lining it all up and pushing it into that glue, not smushing it in too much so that it seeps out. As you can see, I've got a little bit of glue on that middle piece there, but that should hopefully just scratch off the metal, because hot glue don't always stick on sort of smooth surfaces. If you do get loads of over spill, you can use a lighter and just remelt the glue, but you will have to be careful because the felt is obviously going to catch if you use a naked flame. You might melt the felt. But yeah, I'm happy with that. You won't see that metal bit once it's in the hair anyway. So that is the covered snap clip. Like I said, you can just leave it as it is. You don't even have to add a bow, or you could just simply just add an embellishment or a flower onto there. There are so many options with these. So I'm going to do the silver one now. So silver glitter backed with white felt. I won't show you all of this one because yeah, it will just take forever. So I'll do this and then I will come back and we'll add our bow. So there are our two covered snap clips, and just to finish these off and finish a little touch I'm going to show you. So you can end up with some like little fluffy overhangs from the felt or any little bits of glue seeping out. Just run a lighter around all of those edges really quickly. As you can see, there's a bit of felt sticking out there. That just melts it all down and gets rid of it all. I'm just going to open it up and run it across the top on the glitter side, just for the middle part as well. And there you go. And now I'm going to do the same on the black piece. If you look really closely, you can see what I'm trying to get rid of. I don't know if you can see that. So here you can see some little bits of fluff from the felt. So I will do the same on this one, run it all around the edge and then open the clip and do the middle part as well, just to give it a really nice finish. And then we're ready to add on our bows. So I've got my two bows laid out ready, the silver and then the black and the gold. So I'll do the black and the gold one first. So taking the gold iridescent loops, I'm going to add the hot glue to the tab ends, and then you just simply bring those ends in toward the centre. Most of you know how to make these bows already, but just in case there are any total beginners out there watching this, this is how you make a basic sort of leatherette / glitter canvas, whatever fabric you're using, type of bow. And then the smaller loops again, add hot glue to the tab ends and bring those into the centre. Don't bring them in too tightly. You want to leave a little bit. I like to leave sort of a millimetre or two from the top toward the front, so when you flip it over you don't see any of the inside of the fabric that way, if that makes sense. So yeah, just don't overstretch the tabs in toward the centre too much. And now we're going to layer the black piece onto the gold. So whatever smaller loops you're using, whatever fabric, you layer the smaller loops over the larger loops, so you've got a double looped bow. Make sure it's nice and even and central. And then we can layer this now onto our tails. So I've got black glitter tails, so I'm going to add the glue across the middle of the tails and then layer up our loops on there. Make sure again that they are nice and central and even. And then normally we would add a clip at this point, but we're not adding an actual clip to these today because we're using snap clips, so we can add our centre now at this point. So taking our centre strip, I'm going to add some glue just to the top middle. And then we can stick this over the top middle of the bow first, so lining it up central to the bow, and then bringing the two tab ends around toward the bottom. I will need to trim off a little bit of these because they're a little bit too long, because normally we would wrap these around a clip on the underside, but we're not, so I'm just going to trim a little bit off and then just stick these directly around the bottom of the bow. So I'm going to place glue on both of those ends and stick those two ends down. Usually on a smooth fabric I'd use a little bit of super glue because it can sort of peel off, but because we're using the snap clip and some felt, I'm not going to worry about that today. Just getting rid of stringy glue pieces, don't want stringy glue. So that is the bow made, ready to layer onto our snap clip. I'm just going to make the other bow now and then I'll come back. So here is everything now ready to stick together. So we're going to attach our bows to our snap clips. We're not just going to simply just glue them on and that's it. We are going to reinforce them. So the first step would be just to use hot glue and hot glue it to our snap clip. So I'm going to place the glue across the middle and a little bit onto the tail area as well. And then I'm going to line it up onto the top of my snap clip. So I'm lining it up so there is a little bit of the snap clip showing at the top, and I'm making sure it's not sitting on the metal, so it's all on that glitter part at the top, and that it is straight as well. You want to make sure it's straight. Some people do stick them on at an angle, and that does look nice at an angle, but I like mine on there straight. I'm going to do the same with the black one now, so just adding the glue across the tail and the centre and sitting it central and straight on the top of my snap clip. And now we're going to reinforce these using some more felt. So this might be enough, but I just don't trust it. I like to add some felt for reinforcement because felt and hot glue works so well together. So taking the black and the white felt that we used earlier on the backs of the snap clips, we're going to cut some strips from these. So depending on the size of your bow is how big you will want the strip. You want the strip to cover the snap clip and a little bit of the bow. So I'm just going to cut a strip the same width as this centre piece, so about 1 centimetre or just over 1 centimetre wide. I'm just going to cut it longer than I think I need for now, and then I can always trim it down. And then I'm going to measure this against my bow. So as you can see, it's too long. So you want it to sit inside those tails. You don't want to see it from the front side. So I'm cutting that down to the length that I need it. And then I'm going to fold this in half to match the points on the tail. So folding it in half lengthways and then just cutting off that corner so you've got that spike. I'm going to do the same on the other side. I like to do this just because I think it looks prettier, if you like, on the back of the bow. So if I lay that on the back there now, as you can see, it's not overhanging and it just goes with the aesthetics of the back of the bow. It doesn't, look out of place. So again, we're going to use hot glue and we're going to stick that across the middle first. So sticking it across the middle of that bow, the snap clip, sorry. And then we're going to stick the edges down. So lift this edge up and place some hot glue, plenty of hot glue, but not too much so that it seeps out over the edge, but make sure you do sort of cover it all. And then push it down into that loop. So that now gives that bow real good staying power, extra reinforcement as I like to call it. So the other side the same, plenty of hot glue on that last edge and push it down into the tail. And yeah, I'm confident now that that bow is not going to come off that snap clip. If you really pulled it very, very hard, I'm sure you could get it off. But yeah, I'm comfortable now with selling this to a customer. I'm just tucking some little bits of glue now in these little gaps. If there's any little gaps, just have a little feel. You can just tuck the nozzle in and just add a little bit more glue here and there. I've done those exact same steps on my black snap clip also. So this is the front of the snap clip. As you can see, you can't see any of that reinforcement on the back. You've just got these gorgeous snap clips with hair bows on. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you did, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you press the bell button, that will turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my tutorials. I'll be back again soon. Bye!